Listen closely. Success is not a sudden light bulb, it's a daily hammer. Talent opens doors. Consistency builds the house. Small, boring actions done every single day turn zero into profit, quietly and brutally. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop polishing ideas into excuses. Decide now. Show up, ship, repeat. Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. This book teaches the exact rhythm, the exact rituals, and the exact failures to avoid, so consistent execution becomes the business. Chapter 1. Show up until it's unignorable. Show up. Day after day. Visibility compounds. You have a choice. You can wait, or you can show up. That is the difference between silence and sales. That is the difference between ideas and income. Persistence creates presence. Presence creates opportunity. Presence attracts proof. This chapter is simple. It is brutal. If the market does not know you exist, it cannot buy from you. If your work hides in folders and drafts, it will never become a business. Show up until it's unignorable. Start with the rule. One visible thing every single day. A post, a product test, a client call, a case study, a cold email. One visible thing. Not 10 ideas, not one perfect masterpiece. One visible thing that forces response. One visible thing that earns feedback. Show up, day after day. Visibility compounds. Here's why this works. Attention is the currency. Attention is not handed out. Attention is earned through repetition. People trust what they see repeatedly. Algorithms reward what appears consistently. Buyers choose what feels familiar. Consistency builds familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. Trust builds transactions. That's the key. Real example, no hype. A freelance designer committed to posting one case study every week. One, for a full year. No viral tricks, no paid ads, no industry shoutouts. Month 4, small inquiries. Month 7, steady leads. Month 10, an enterprise company reached out unsolicited and asked for a pitch. Why? Because the work was visible. Because the proof stacked up. Because consistency removed doubt. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It wasn't timing. It was visibility earned through repetition. You have a choice. You can stay invisible and work on things, or you can publish and let the market respond. You don't need their permission to sell. You don't need approval to be seen. You don't need confidence before action. Confidence is built after repetition. Here's how to execute this without excuses. First, schedule the work. Block 60 minutes daily for one visible action. Same time, same place, no negotiation. Treat it like a client meeting. Miss it once, the habit cracks. Second, choose one format and stick to it. Case studies, short videos, email outreach, product updates. Pick one. Repetition reduces friction. Friction kills consistency. Third, use templates. A case study template, a posting template, a message template. Templates turn effort into output. Output creates momentum. Fourth, measure inputs, not applause. Count posts, count calls, count tests. Ignore likes early. Inputs compound into outcomes, always. Show up, day after day. Visibility compounds. Expect resistance. Fear will whisper. Boredom will creep in. The mind will ask, is this working? That's normal. You have a choice. Act anyway. Publish anyway. One more time. Momentum always starts after discomfort. Stop waiting for perfection. Perfection is procrastination wearing makeup. It's not about brilliance. It's not about flawless branding. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. Ship first, improve later. Make the habit stick. Track streaks. Tell someone your goal. Add accountability. Create a small consequence for skipping a day. Humans move when there's friction. Use it. What must stop immediately? Stop tweaking logos endlessly. Stop rewriting bios. Stop researching instead of publishing. Those are delays pretending to be progress. Replace them with output. Simple posting language wins. Clear headlines, clear outcomes, clear calls to action. You don't need their permission to sell. You don't need approval to be seen. You don't need confidence before action. Confidence is built after repetition. Say the mantra again because repetition rewires behavior. Show up day after day. Visibility compounds. Real growth looks boring. It looks repetitive. It looks unglamorous, but it works. Credibility stacks. Proof accumulates. Opportunities appear. Talent fades. Motivation fades. Consistency stays. You earned visibility here. You learned how presence is built. Now it's time to turn presence into progress. You mastered showing up. Now let's talk about speed.
Chapter 2. Ship first, perfect later. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. You have a choice. You can polish in private, or you can publish in public. One builds fantasies, the other builds businesses. Perfection kills velocity. Velocity creates data. Data creates direction. That's the key. Most people are not stuck because they lack talent. They're stuck because they refuse to release. They tweak, they adjust, they wait, they hide behind readiness. It feels productive. It feels safe. It is lethal. Shipping is exposure. Exposure creates feedback. Feedback is the only teacher the market respects. You don't need their permission to ship. You don't need applause before action. You need evidence. Evidence only comes after release. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. Perfection is not excellence. Perfection is fear in a clean outfit. It delays contact with reality. It delays rejection. It delays growth. It delays revenue. And delay is expensive. Here's the truth. The market does not reward intention. The market rewards iteration. Every time you ship, you collect data. Every time you collect data, you sharpen your aim. Every time you sharpen your aim, profit gets closer. That's the key. Real example. Simple. A cafe opened with a basic menu. No long surveys, no focus groups. Coffee, 2 pastries, 1 sandwich. That was it. Customers voted with purchases. The best seller wasn't predicted. It emerged. After 30 days, the menu evolved. The crowd favorite existed because shipping came first, data came second, perfection came last. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. Surveys lie, opinions mislead, purchases tell the truth. People say many things, they pay for very few. The only way to discover what actually sells is to sell something, not someday, today. You have a choice. You can keep asking, is this good enough? Or you can ask, what happened when it went live? One question protects ego, the other builds clarity. Choose clarity. Let's make this practical. Rule 1. Set a shipping deadline, non-negotiable. Deadlines force decisions. Decisions force movement. Movement creates results. Without deadlines, perfection expands forever. Rule 2. Define version 1. Version 1 is functional. Version 1 is usable. Version 1 is not impressive. That's the point. It exists to collect data, not praise. Rule 3. Launch to a real audience. Not friends, not family, not polite critics. Real buyers, real users, real consequences. You don't need their permission to sell. You need their reaction. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. Expect discomfort. Expect criticism. Expect silence. Silence is feedback. Criticism is feedback. Praise is feedback. All of it is useful. None of it matters if you don't ship. This is where most people break. They confuse identity with output. They think a bad launch means they are bad. False. A bad launch means version 1 did its job. It revealed reality. It's not about embarrassment. It's about discipline. It's not about talent. It's about throughput. It's not about looking smart. It's about moving fast. That's the key. Speed compounds. Every release shortens the next. Every lesson sharpens the next. Every iteration lowers fear. Fear shrinks when action grows. The best businesses you admire shipped ugly versions. They launched rough drafts. They refined in public. You only see the finished product. You don't see the early mess, but the mess came first. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. Here's what to stop doing immediately. Stop waiting for confidence. Confidence follows evidence, not the other way around. Stop rewriting copy endlessly. Test it live. Stop tweaking features no one asked for. Watch what users actually use. Stop hiding behind strategy with no execution. Replace thinking with testing. One offer, one page, one price. Release it. Watch behavior. Adjust. Repeat. You have a choice. Hide until you feel ready, or ship and become ready. Only one creates revenue. Here's a simple weekly rhythm. Monday, ship something new. Tuesday, observe behavior. Wednesday, collect feedback. Thursday, improve one thing. Friday, ship again. No drama, no delay, just movement. Ship, learn, improve, ship again. Perfectionists fear damage, but stagnation causes more harm than a flawed launch. Businesses don't die from ugly versions, they die from inactivity. Remember this line, burn it in. The market forgives imperfection. The market ignores absence. That's the key. You don't need their permission to release. You don't need universal approval. You need velocity. Velocity reveals truth. Truth guides profit. By shipping, you convert ideas into experiments, experiments into data, data into decisions, decisions into income. That is how zero becomes profit. This chapter is about courage in motion, about choosing progress over pride, about building by doing. You mastered showing up in Chapter 1. You earned attention through presence. Now you learned how to move that attention forward through action. You stopped waiting. You started releasing. You learned that execution beats imagination, that speed beats polish, that learning beats guessing. You built momentum. Now let's talk about direction. You shipped. Next, you must focus.
Chapter 3. Micro Goals, Macro Results. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. You have a choice. Chase big goals and feel overwhelmed, or break them down and win daily. Most people fail not because their goals are too small, but because their goals are too vague. More money, more sales, more growth. These are wishes, not plans. Revenue is not a mystery. Revenue is math. Math obeys inputs. Inputs repeated daily create outcomes. That's the key. Macro results are built from micro actions, calls, posts, ads, prototypes, follow-ups, tests. The outcome you want is simply the echo of what you do consistently. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. Here's where people get stuck. They set a monthly revenue goal, then stare at it. They hope motivation will close the gap. It won't. Motivation fades. Systems stay. You don't need inspiration. You need inputs. Let's make this concrete. If the goal is revenue, break it down backward. Revenue comes from sales. Sales come from conversations. Conversations come from outreach and visibility. So the real goal is not make $5 million. The real goal is send 10 messages today, post once today, run one ad test today, improve one page today. You have a choice. Measure the outcome and feel frustrated, or measure the inputs and feel in control. Control beats hope. That's the key. Real-world example. An e-commerce founder stopped obsessing over conversion rates and viral hacks. Instead, the focus shifted to activity. The rule was simple: 20 new product photos every week, 50 outreach messages every week, no exceptions. No guarantee, no hacks, just volume and consistency. Week 1, nothing dramatic. Week 3, traffic climbed. Week 6, conversions improved. Month 3, predictable sales. Why? Because activity created data. Data revealed what worked. What worked was repeated. What didn't was removed. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. Notice what didn't happen. There was no magic ad, no influencer miracle, no overnight spike, just controlled inputs producing controlled outputs. That's how real businesses grow. Most people quit here. They say, "I tried for 2 weeks." 2 weeks is not a system. 2 weeks is a mood. Results come from boring repetition. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. It's not about massive action, it's about daily action. That's the key. Let's build your micro-goal framework. Step 1, define the outcome. Monthly revenue target, clear number. Step 2, break it into weekly actions. How many calls? How many posts? How many demos? How many tests? Step 3, break weekly actions into daily non-negotiables. These are small enough to complete even on bad days. Example: 5 outreach messages per day, 1 visible post per day, 1 product improvement per day. That's it. Simple, repeatable, trackable. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. Tracking is critical. What gets tracked gets done. Use a simple checklist. Don't overcomplicate it. Check the box or don't. No excuses. You have a choice. Measure feelings or measure actions. One is useless. One builds profit. Here's a warning. Do not fall into the vanity metric trap. Likes do not equal leads. Views do not equal revenue. Applause does not equal progress. Measure actions that move money. Messages sent, calls made, pages tested, offers presented. Everything else is noise. That's the key. Another trap is doing random actions. Random effort produces random results. Your actions must align with revenue. Busy work is not discipline. Discipline is focused repetition. Ask this daily question: did today's actions move money closer? If the answer is no, adjust tomorrow's inputs. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. This approach removes emotional volatility. Good day or bad day, the inputs stay the same. You stop chasing moods. You start running a system. And systems scale. When one action works, you increase volume. When it stops working, you replace it. You never stop the machine. You don't need their permission to measure yourself this way. You don't need approval to simplify. Simplicity wins. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. Micro goals flip that equation. Daily wins build long-term dominance. That's the key. Let's lock this in with a rule. Never end a day without completing your revenue-linked micro actions. Even on tired days, even on slow days, especially on uncertain days. Because the results are not created today, they are created by accumulation. Small action, daily repeat, results appear. This chapter taught you control. You stopped hoping, you started measuring, you turned big goals into daily behavior. You now know that outcomes are echoes of inputs, that progress is predictable, that success is scheduled. You mastered execution at the smallest level. Now it's time to tighten the loop. You control the inputs. Next, you must learn to read the signals.
Chapter 4. The Feedback Loop. Fail fast, fix faster. Measure, modify, move. You have a choice: guess and hope, or measure and know. Businesses don't stall because of lack of effort. They stall because feedback is slow. Slow feedback breeds stagnation. Fast feedback creates momentum. That's the key. Consistency without feedback is blind repetition. It feels productive, but it drifts. Consistency with feedback is controlled growth. Every action teaches. Every metric speaks. Every reaction points the way forward. You don't need their permission to change course. You need evidence. Evidence comes from measurement. Measure, modify, move. Most people avoid feedback because it hurts. Numbers expose reality. Customer behavior removes excuses. But comfort kills progress. Data sharpens direction. Here's the rule. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. If you don't review it, you will repeat mistakes longer than necessary. Fail fast, fix faster. What does fast feedback look like? Daily metrics, weekly reviews, bi-weekly experiments. Anything slower allows bad decisions to live too long. That's the key. Real-world example. A SaaS company noticed high churn during free trials. Instead of guessing, they watched behavior. Heat maps showed users getting stuck. Support tickets revealed confusion in the first 5 minutes. So they iterated. Every 2 weeks, not every quarter, not someday. Small changes, short cycles. Result: lower churn, higher activation, predictable growth. Measure, modify, move. Notice the pattern. They didn't redesign everything. They didn't ask opinions. They studied behavior. Then they acted. Feedback must be ruthless. Polite data lies. Honest data stings. Use the sting. Here's how to build your feedback loop. Step 1. Define the core metric. 1 metric per stage. Traffic stage, clicks. Conversion stage, signups. Revenue stage, purchases. Retention stage, repeat usage. Too many metrics dilute focus. 1 clear signal per stage. Measure, modify, move. Step 2. Shorten the review window. Weekly is the maximum. Daily is better for early stages. Waiting a month is how businesses drift into irrelevance. You have a choice: face numbers now or suffer consequences later. Step 3. Run controlled tests. Change one thing at a time. Headline, price, call to action, flow. Never guess which change worked. Data must be clear. Measure, modify, move. Step 4. Kill what doesn't work, ruthlessly. Sentiment is irrelevant. Attachment is dangerous. If the metric doesn't improve, remove it. It's not about pride, it's about progress. It's not about effort, it's about effectiveness. It's not about activity, it's about correction. It's not about patience, it's about precision. That's the key. Common mistakes to avoid. Mistake 1, asking people what they want instead of watching what they do. Behavior is truth, opinions are noise. Mistake 2, changing everything at once. Chaos hides causation. One change, one result. Mistake 3, ignoring negative feedback. Complaints are gifts. Silence is a warning. Both demand action. Measure, modify, move. Feedback removes emotion from decision-making. You stop defending ideas, you start defending results. This is how amateurs become operators. You don't need their permission to pivot. You don't need approval to remove features, change pricing, rewrite messaging, or rebuild flows. The market already voted. Your job is to listen. Fast loops create learning speed. Learning speed creates advantage. Advantage compounds. That's the key. Here's a simple weekly feedback ritual. Monday, review last week's numbers. Tuesday, identify the weakest metric. Wednesday, design one fix. Thursday, deploy the change. Friday, watch early signals. Repeat. Measure, modify, move. This system removes ego. It removes guessing. It replaces drama with direction. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You are already getting feedback from open rates, from sales calls, from churn, from silence. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It just delays improvement. Failing fast is not reckless, it's efficient. Fixing fast is not impatient, it's intelligent. You have a choice: drift slowly or adapt quickly. Small corrections done often beat big corrections done late. Measure, modify, move. This chapter taught you to listen, to respond, to evolve. You stopped repeating blindly. You started steering deliberately. You now understand that consistency only works when paired with feedback. You can see what works. You can remove what doesn't. You learned to fail forward. Now it's time to lock this behavior into your daily life. You learned to adapt quickly. Next, you must make execution automatic. Chapter 5. Ritualize the grind. Ritual first, results second. You have a choice: rely on motivation and burn out, or rely on systems and scale. Willpower is unreliable. Emotions fluctuate. Energy fades. Systems stay. That's the key. If execution depends on how you feel, it will fail. If execution is ritualized, it becomes automatic. Automatic beats heroic every time. This chapter is about removing choice from execution. No debate, no hesitation, no negotiation. The work happens because the system says so. Ritual first, results second. Most people think discipline means forcing themselves to work harder. Wrong. Discipline means designing your environment so work happens with less resistance. You don't rise to motivation, you fall to your systems. Selling, outreach, content creation, product testing. These are not creative events. They are operational tasks. Treat them like rituals, not inspiration. You don't need their permission to run your day this way. You don't need approval to protect your time. You are building a business, not a mood. Real-world example. A solo founder struggled with inconsistent sales. Some weeks were strong, others were silent. The issue wasn't skill, it was inconsistency. So a ritual was installed. Every weekday, 9 a.m., 90 minutes, outreach only. No email, no scrolling, no meetings. Same time, same task, same duration. 2 months later, client meetings doubled. Not because of better scripts, not because of luck, because resistance was removed. Ritual first, results second. Notice the pattern. The founder didn't try harder. The founder removed decisions. Decisions drain energy. Rituals conserve it. That's the key. Let's define what a ritual actually is. A ritual has 4 parts: fixed time, fixed location, fixed action, fixed duration. If any of these are missing, consistency breaks. I'll do it later is not a ritual. When I feel ready is not a ritual. Whenever I have time is not a ritual. Rituals are boring. That's why they work.
Ritual first, results second. Start with your revenue rituals. Revenue does not appear by accident. It appears after repeated contact with the market. Examples: outreach ritual, 9 to 10:30 a.m. daily. Sales follow-up ritual, 15 minutes after lunch. Offer review ritual, Friday afternoons. Schedule them, lock them, protect them. You have a choice. Let your calendar run you, or design it deliberately. One builds chaos, one builds control. It's not about intensity, it's about inevitability. It's not about passion, it's about discipline. It's not about working more, it's about working predictably. That's the key. Next, ritualize creation. Content is not art. Content is communication. Communication requires repetition. Waiting for creative sparks creates gaps. Gaps kill momentum. Create a content ritual. Same day, same format, same output. One post, one case study, one video. Whatever your format is, repeat it. Ritual first, results second. Next, ritualize improvement. Testing products, adjusting offers, refining pages. These must also be scheduled. Improvement that waits for free time never happens. Example ritual: Wednesday, one A/B test. Thursday, one product tweak. Friday, review results. Small changes, repeated weekly, compounding quietly. This is how amateurs become operators. Now let's talk about resistance. Resistance appears before important work, always. Rituals bypass resistance. When the time arrives, the action starts. No debate. You don't ask yourself if you feel like brushing your teeth. You do it. That's the level execution must reach. Ritual first, results second. Common mistakes to avoid. Mistake 1 is stacking too many rituals at once. Start small, one ritual per week. Let it stabilize. Mistake 2 is making rituals too large. If it feels heavy, it will break. Small, repeatable blocks win. Mistake 3 is breaking rituals casually. Miss once, it becomes optional. Optional dies quickly. Protect the streak. You have a choice. Treat rituals as sacred or treat goals as optional. Only one produces results. Here's a simple daily structure you can copy. In the morning, revenue ritual, outreach, sales, offers. Midday, execution ritual, client work, delivery. Afternoon, improvement ritual, testing, refinement. No chaos, no guesswork, just flow. Ritual first, results second. Here's the deeper truth. Rituals do more than produce output. They shape identity. When you act consistently, you stop negotiating with yourself. You become reliable. Reliability builds confidence. Confidence built this way cannot be shaken. It is earned. That's the key. When life gets busy, rituals protect progress. When motivation drops, rituals carry you forward. When doubt creeps in, rituals silence it. You don't rise on good days, you win on average days. And average days are won by systems. Say this clearly. I don't wait to feel ready, I follow the ritual. That sentence changes behavior. Ritual first, results second. This chapter taught you automation of effort. You stopped depending on willpower. You replaced it with structure. You made execution predictable. You now understand that consistency survives emotion only when it's systemized. You no longer ask, "Will I work today?" The system already answered. Now it's time to see what these rituals produce over time. You built the machine. Next, you'll learn how small wins multiply.
Chapter 6. The compound interest of small wins. Win small, win often, win bigger. You have a choice. Chase breakthroughs and burn out, or stack small wins and become unstoppable. Most people misunderstand growth. They think progress arrives in explosions. It doesn't. It arrives in accumulation, quiet, predictable, relentless. This chapter is about arithmetic, not motivation, not hype. Math always wins. Small actions, repeated, create momentum that cannot be argued with. That's the key. One small win reduces friction. Reduced friction increases consistency. Consistency multiplies results. Win small, win often, win bigger. Here is the mistake people make. They wait for a big win to feel confident, but confidence doesn't come first. Confidence is a side effect. It's built through evidence. Evidence comes from small wins stacked over time. Daily micro wins train the brain to expect progress. Expectation fuels effort. Effort fuels results. The loop tightens. That's the key. Let's make this real. Real-world example. A tutoring business started with one student. No ads, no viral campaign. The goal was simple. Add one new student per week. Just one. Week 1, 2 students. Month 1, 5 students. Month 6, over 25 students. Month 12, enough demand to open a local learning center. No single event caused the growth, no overnight success, just compounding. 1 student per week equals 52 students per year. Math doesn't care about feelings. Math rewards consistency. Win small, win often, win bigger. Most people dismiss small wins because they feel insignificant. That's impatience talking. Small wins feel weak today, but they grow strong with time. The earlier you start, the faster they compound. You have a choice. Underestimate small progress and quit early, or respect the math and stay consistent. Only one builds businesses. Here is how compounding actually works in behavior. First win, you prove you can act. Second win, you prove it wasn't luck. Third win, you expect success. Expectation removes hesitation. That's the hidden benefit. Momentum is psychological before it's financial. It's not about scale at the start. It's about repeatability. It's not about size. It's about frequency. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. That's the key. Let's break the math down further. 1 post per day equals 365 touch points per year. 1 sales call per day equals 260 opportunities per year. 1 product improvement per week equals 52 upgrades per year. None of these look impressive in isolation. Together, they dominate. Win small, win often, win bigger. Now here's the part most people miss. Small wins reduce resistance. The first call is hard. The 10th is easier. The 100th is automatic. Friction decreases as familiarity increases. Friction is the real enemy. Small wins kill friction. You don't need their permission to start small. Ego resists small beginnings. Discipline embraces them. You have a choice. Protect pride or build momentum. Small wins also create resources. More customers mean more cash flow. More cash flow means better tools. Better tools means faster execution. Faster execution means more wins. The loop feeds itself. That's the key. Let's talk about what counts as a small win. A completed outreach session, a shipped update, a paid invoice, a returning customer, a positive reply. Not vanity metrics, real progress markers, wins that move the system forward. Track them, write them down. Evidence matters. The brain believes what it can see. Win small, win often, win bigger. Another critical point. Small wins create optionality. When momentum builds, choices appear. You can raise prices. You can say no. You can reinvest. You can scale. Options are the reward of consistency. Most people want options without effort. It doesn't work that way. You earn options by stacking proof. That's the key. What stops people from compounding? Quitting too early. They judge progress too soon. They ignore the curve. Compounding is slow at first, then it accelerates. The early phase feels unfair. Effort seems high, results seem low. That's the test. Pass it, and momentum arrives. You have a choice. Quit during the flat line or stay long enough to hit the curve. Let's lock this into behavior. Daily rule: end the day with one completed win. No 0 days. Even a small win counts, especially a small win. Weekly rule: review wins. Look at volume. Look at trends. Adjust inputs if needed. Monthly rule: raise the standard slightly. One more call, one more post, one more test. That's how scale happens without burnout. Win small, win often, win bigger. And remember this: big wins are just small wins with time attached. Remove the time and nothing looks impressive. Add time and average becomes elite. That's the math no one can escape. You don't need their permission to play the long game. You don't need validation to trust the process. Results will validate you later. This chapter taught you patience with power. You learned to respect accumulation. You learned that momentum is built, not found. You now understand that progress is predictable when inputs repeat. You stopped chasing fireworks. You started stacking bricks. Now let's address the next threat to compounding. You learned how wins multiply. Next, you must learn to eliminate distractions.
Chapter 7. Kill the noise, prioritize real work. Less noise, more doing. You have a choice. Stay busy and feel productive, or focus on real work and get paid. Busy work masquerades as progress. It looks active. It feels responsible. It produces nothing. Real work moves revenue. That's the key. Noise is seductive. Notifications, meetings, tweaks, revisions, endless planning. It fills the day and empties the results. The louder the noise, the less progress you make. Less noise, more doing. Real work is simple. It is uncomfortable. It is measurable. It is revenue-linked. Calls, offers, follow-ups, shipping paid features, testing, improving. Everything else is support or distraction. Most people confuse motion with movement. Motion burns time. Movement creates outcomes. You don't need their permission to cut the noise. You need discipline. Here's the rule. If an activity does not directly increase sales, conversion, retention, or learning speed, it is secondary. Secondary work must be limited. Primary work must be protected. That's the key. Real-world example. A product manager was drowning in meetings, status updates, alignment calls, planning sessions. 40 hours a week vanished. Results stalled. So a decision was made. Meetings were cut in half. 10 hours a week were reclaimed. That time was redirected to building. 2 focused features shipped. Adoption increased. Metrics moved. Not because of smarter ideas, because noise was removed. Less noise, more doing. Noise steals attention. Attention is finite. Every distraction taxes execution. When attention is fragmented, progress slows. When attention is focused, results accelerate. You have a choice. Let noise decide your day or decide deliberately. Let's identify the biggest noise generators. First, social scrolling disguised as research. Second, endless redesigns with no data. Third, meetings without decisions. Fourth, over-polishing internal documents. Fifth, planning without execution. These activities feel safe. They avoid rejection. They avoid risk. They avoid feedback. But safety kills growth. It's not about activity. It's about impact. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. That's the key. Now let's build a filter. Ask this before every task. Does this move money or learning forward today? If the answer is no, it's noise. Limit it, schedule it, batch it, or eliminate it. Less noise, more doing. Here's a simple priority framework you can use daily. Tier 1, revenue work. Outreach, sales calls, offers, follow-ups, shipping paid features. Tier 2, growth work. Content, testing, optimization, feedback review. Tier 3, maintenance, emails, meetings, admin, planning. Tier 1 gets first energy. Tier 3 gets leftovers. Most people invert this. They start with maintenance and never reach revenue. Flip it. You have a choice. Start with what's easy or start with what matters. That's the key. Another trap to kill: perfection loops, endless tweaks, micro-adjustments no one asked for. If it's not tested in the market, it's noise. Perfection does not create profit. Exposure does. It's not about flawless execution, it's about disciplined execution. Less noise, more doing. Time blocking is your weapon. Protect blocks of deep work. No notifications, no meetings, no interruptions. Even 90 minutes of focus beats 8 hours of distraction. Decide in advance what real work looks like for you. Write it down, schedule it first. You don't need their permission to say no. You don't need approval to protect focus. Focus is your competitive advantage. Let's address meetings specifically. Meetings are tools, not defaults. A meeting without a decision is noise. A meeting without an agenda is noise. A meeting without action items is noise. Replace meetings with updates. Replace updates with dashboards. Replace dashboards with action. Less noise, more doing. Now let's talk about digital noise. Turn off non-essential notifications. Unfollow distractions. Mute groups that don't move money. Control your inputs or your outputs will suffer. Attention is the bottleneck. Guard it. That's the key. Here's a daily execution rule. Complete one revenue-linked task before checking messages. One, every day. This alone will separate you from most people. Momentum starts early. Win the morning, the day follows. Less noise, more doing. Another important distinction: learning versus consuming. Learning changes behavior. Consuming delays it. Reading 10 articles without action is noise. Implementing one insight is progress. You have a choice: collect information or build results. This chapter demands honesty. Look at your calendar. Look at your task list. Circle the items that directly impact revenue. Everything else must shrink. Real work feels exposed. Real work risks rejection. That's why people avoid it. But avoidance is expensive. That's the key. Let's lock this in with a weekly reset ritual. Every Sunday, review last week's results. Identify the one activity that moved the needle. Remove one noisy habit for the coming week. Schedule real work first. Do this weekly. Clarity compounds. Less noise, more doing. This chapter taught you subtraction. Growth is not always addition. Sometimes it's removal. You removed distractions. You reclaimed attention. You redirected energy towards outcomes. You stopped confusing busyness with progress. You now understand that focus is leverage. You cleared the path. Now it's time to apply focus where it matters most. You killed the noise. Next, you'll build a machine that converts attention into revenue.
Chapter 8. Build a repeatable sales rhythm. Touch, follow, close, repeat. You have a choice. Hope people buy when they feel like it, or build a system that guides them there. Sales is not inspiration. Sales is a process. Processes scale. Feelings don't. That's the key. Most businesses fail not because the offer is bad, but because follow-through is weak. Attention fades. Interest cools. People get distracted. A system solves this. A system does not forget.
You don't need their permission to sell consistently. You need a rhythm. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Sales is simply structured contact over time. The first message introduces. The follow-ups educate. The objections clarify. The close invites decision. Miss any step, and revenue leaks. Let's break the rhythm down. Step 1. Touch. Initial contact. Clear value. Clear relevance. Short and direct. No fluff. No begging. Respect time. Example. Quick note. Noticed your site isn't converting mobile traffic. Recently helped a similar brand increase demo requests by 38%. Worth a quick look? That's it. Simple, specific, professional. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Step 2. Follow. This is where most people quit. Silence does not mean no. Silence means busy. Follow-ups show seriousness. Follow-ups build trust. Follow-up 1. Reminder. Follow-up 2. Added value. Follow-up 3. Objection handling. Follow-up 4. Deadline or close. Most deals happen after the third touch. That's the key. Real-world example. A consultant stopped improvising follow-ups. Instead, a 5-step sequence was created and used for every prospect. Step 1. Intro. Step 2. Case study. Step 3. Answer common objection. Step 4. Soft close. Step 5. Final nudge. Result? 40% higher conversions. Not because of better persuasion, because consistency replaced forgetfulness. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Notice what changed. Nothing emotional, nothing magical. The system ensured no lead was wasted. You have a choice. Treat sales as random conversations or treat it like a machine. Now let's talk objections. Objections are not rejections. They are requests for clarity. Price, timing, trust, risk. These are predictable, which means they can be scripted. Write responses in advance. Use them every time. Refine them with feedback. Example objection. We don't have budget. Response. Understood. Most clients said the same before seeing how this reduced their costs elsewhere. Would it help to see how others justified the spend? Calm, confident, direct. You don't need their permission to guide the conversation. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Step 3. Close. Closing is not pressure. Closing is invitation. Ask clearly. Ask confidently. Examples. Should we move forward this week? Does it make sense to test this for 30 days? Would you like me to send the agreement? If you don't ask, you don't get. Silence after value is a missed opportunity. That's the key. Now let's put this into a daily rhythm. Morning, new touches. Midday, follow-ups. Afternoon, closes and admin. Same order, every day, predictable, boring, effective. Sales thrives on repetition. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Call and response mindset check. Did you reach out? Touch. Did you follow up? Follow. Did you ask for the sale? Close. Did you log it and move on? Repeat. If one step is missing, revenue slows. You have a choice. Avoid sales discomfort or build income stability. Here's a critical rule. Never rely on memory. Use a CRM. Use a spreadsheet. Use reminders. Leads leak when systems are absent. Track. First contact date. Follow-up count. Objections raised. Status. Clarity creates control. That's the key. Another truth. Not everyone will buy. That's fine. The system doesn't depend on yes. It depends on volume and consistency. 10 touches produce 1 sale.
That one sale funds the next 10 touches. The loop feeds itself. Touch, follow, close, repeat. Stop customizing the process for every lead. Customization kills scale. Use the system first. Personalize only after engagement. Consistency beats cleverness. You don't need their permission to be persistent. Professional follow-up is respect, not harassment. You are offering value. Stand behind it. Let's lock this chapter in. Sales is not talent. It's not charisma. It's not luck. It's cadence. It's discipline. It's repetition. That's the key. This chapter gave you control over revenue. You stopped leaving money on the table. You replaced hope with process. You now know how to convert attention into income predictably. But systems alone are not enough. You built the rhythm. Next, you must make it bigger than you.
Chapter 9. Scale the system, not the hero. Systems over stars. Say it again. Systems greater than stars. Talent burns out. Energy fades. Motivation fluctuates. But systems don't get tired. Systems don't need applause. Systems scale. Here's the hard truth. If the business collapses when one person steps away, it's not a business, it's a bottleneck. Profit does not come from working harder. Profit comes from working repeatably. That's the key. Most founders try to grow by becoming superheroes. Longer hours, more decisions, more control. That works, briefly. Then exhaustion hits. Quality drops. Growth stalls. The solution is not more hustle. The solution is structure. Systems greater than stars. A real business survives human limits. Every task that happens more than twice must be documented. Every win must be repeatable. Every role must be teachable. Teach it, document it, hand it off. That's the rule. Let's make this practical. Look at any operation. Sales, delivery, onboarding, content, support. If success depends on someone's personal touch, growth will choke. Replace personality with process. Scripts replace improvisation. Templates replace guesswork. Checklists replace memory. That's how scale happens. Real-world example. A restaurant struggling to expand had a problem. New staff produced inconsistent results. Quality depended on who was working that day. So the owner stopped relying on experience and started documenting everything. Prep routines, cooking steps, plating standards, opening and closing checklists. Training stopped being verbal, it became systematic. New hires produced the same quality within weeks. Expansion became predictable. Growth became training, not trial and error. That's the power of systems. Systems greater than stars. If someone quits tomorrow, can the work continue? If the answer is no, the system is missing. Teach it, document it, hand it off. Delegation is not abandonment. Delegation is design. Start with low-risk tasks. Admin, scheduling, posting, data entry. Then move upward. Sales follow-ups, client onboarding, fulfillment steps. One process at a time. Every time something goes wrong, ask one question. Is this a people problem or a system problem? Most of the time, it's the system. Fix the system once, or fix the same mistake forever. That's the key. Charisma attracts attention. Systems turn attention into revenue. Stars shine bright, but briefly. Systems compound. Teach it, document it, hand it off. End this chapter with clarity. The goal is not to be needed. The goal is to be scalable. When the system works without you, freedom appears. When freedom appears, growth accelerates. Systems greater than stars. And now the final truth. If the business needs you everywhere, it owns you. If the system runs itself, you own the business. That's the shift. Next chapter, everything comes together.
Chapter 10.
The consistency mindset. Endure the boredom. This is the final barrier. Not skill, not talent, not resources. Boredom. That's the enemy no one warns you about. The real obstacle to success is not failure. Failure is loud, failure is dramatic, failure teaches fast. Boredom is quiet. Boredom is repetitive. Boredom whispers, "This isn't working." And that whisper has killed more dreams than fear ever did. Here's the truth most people avoid. The actions that change your life are boring. The habits that build wealth are boring. The routines that create mastery are boring. That's the key. You don't lose because you can't do the work. You lose because you stop doing the work when it stops being exciting. You have a choice. Quit when novelty fades, or endure when results are still loading. Consistency is not intensity. Consistency is emotional endurance. Showing up when nothing feels new, repeating actions when there's no applause, executing when motivation has left the room. That's discipline. It's not about passion, it's about tolerance. Tolerance for repetition, tolerance for slow progress, tolerance for silence. You don't need their permission, you need your own resolve. Let's break this illusion. People love overnight success stories because they hide the boredom. They compress years of repetition into one headline moment. But behind every breakthrough is a mountain of unsexy work. Emails sent daily, pages written daily, calls made daily, products shipped daily. Nothing fancy, nothing viral, just done again and again. That's the engine. Real-world example. An indie author decided to write 500 words every day. Not inspired writing, not perfect writing, just 500 words. Some days it flowed, most days it didn't. 3 years passed. No bestseller list, no viral tweet, no big announcement, just output. Then something shifted. Backlist grew, search traffic compounded, readers stacked, income diversified. Books led to courses, courses led to speaking, speaking led to consulting. Multiple income streams came from one boring habit, 500 words, every day for years. No overnight success, only relentless practice. That's the truth. Small actions don't feel powerful in the moment. That's why most people abandon them. They expect excitement as proof of progress. But excitement is irrelevant. Progress is quiet. You have a choice. Chase stimulation or build outcomes. That's the key. Reframe boredom. Boredom is not a signal to stop. Boredom is a signal that the system is working. When actions feel boring, it means they've become familiar. Familiar actions are repeatable. Repeatable actions are scalable. Boredom is efficiency. The pros don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "Is it scheduled?" The amateurs wait for energy. The professionals rely on structure. It's not about creativity, it's about commitment. You don't need to feel motivated to execute. You need to feel responsible. Responsible to your future self. Responsible to the system you built. Responsible to the promises you made in silence. That's discipline. Endurance is a skill, and like any skill, it's trained. Start small, repeat daily, remove emotion from the equation. Treat execution like brushing your teeth. Not exciting, not optional, just done. That's the mindset. When boredom hits, don't escape it. Sit inside it. Let it pass. Boredom is temporary. Results are permanent. You have a choice. React emotionally or act mechanically. That's the difference. Most people quit at the exact moment results are about to compound. They mistake boredom for failure. But boredom means you're still in the game. That's the key. Look back at everything you've learned. You shipped before perfection. You broke goals into actions. You tightened feedback loops. You ritualized execution. You compounded small wins. You cut noise. You built sales rhythms. You scaled systems, not heroes.
Now this chapter seals it. None of that works without endurance. Consistency is not sexy. Consistency is powerful. Success is built by people who can tolerate doing the same right thing longer than others can tolerate being bored. That's the final truth. You don't need their permission. You don't need more ideas. You don't need motivation. You need stamina. Endure the boredom. Honor the repetition. Trust the arithmetic. Because results don't respond to excitement. They respond to consistency. That's the key. This is where it ends and where execution begins. Consistency is not a philosophy. It is a weapon. Do the small, ugly things every day until the market can't ignore them. Show up, ship, measure, ritualize, repeat. Build systems that run while energy fades. Turn micro wins into momentum and boredom into discipline. The people who win are not the smartest or the luckiest. They are the steady ones. Right now, pick one income-producing action and commit to it for 30 days. No excuses, no perfection. Post your first proof, then do it again tomorrow. Accept the grind, own the rhythm, and let results do the talking. Now, if this landed, like the video, subscribe to MindShift Audiobooks, and hit the bell. Then get to work. This channel will keep the rhythm. You keep the promise.